art market by featuring seasoned collectors and our large community of working artists. I'm Ernie Manouse.
And I'm Celeste Diaz-Sherman. We'll also talk with the founder of the Untitled Art Fair, Jeff Lawson, and director Michael Slenske about what to expect this weekend right here in the GRB.
And I'm Frank Billingsley. Plus, Ernie Manouse will give us another InnerVIEWS segment this hour as he sits down with America's Got Talent semifinalist, singer Christina Wells.
And we want to hear from you. Give us a call or send us a text at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org and clicking the big orange banner.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. President Trump says on social media he and Chinese President Xi Jinping made progress toward approving a deal on TikTok in their phone call today. He says they have agreed to meet at the APEC summit in South Korea late next month. Trump also said he will visit China early next year. TikTok's a Chinese-owned company has been under threat of being banned in the U.S. over national security concerns. TikTok's parent company is ByteDance. A short-term spending bill to fund the government through November 21st has passed the House. Now it moves to the Senate. Speaker Mike Johnson had a message for the Senate's Democratic leader.
The ball is in Chuck Schumer's court. I hope he does the right thing. I hope he does not choose to shut the government down and inflict pain unnecessarily on the American people. I hope that they will vote on this clean short-term CR so that we can continue the work to get our appropriations done.
All but one Democrat in the House, Representative Jared Golden of Maine, voted against the measure. The Senate is scheduled to vote later today on two different spending measures, one sponsored by Democrats, the other by Republicans. In a surprise move this morning, a panel of vaccine advisors to the federal government tabled their proposed change to the vaccine schedule. That schedule would have dropped the current recommendation that all children receive the hepatitis B shot at birth. The panel, which Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. stacked with people who have long questioned the safety of vaccines, are also now saying that the Vaccine for Children program should not cover a combined shot known as MMRV, measles, mumps, rubella, and chickenpox. Israel has launched a wave of airstrikes in South Lebanon and issued warnings of further attacks displacing hundreds of residents. NPR's Jana Raff has the latest from Beirut.
Israel and Lebanon agreed to a ceasefire last November. But Israel has been launching attacks almost every day against what it says are Hezbollah targets. It warned residents of 3 Lebanese villages Thursday to leave ahead of more strikes. It said were aimed at preventing Hezbollah from rebuilding military infrastructure. Lebanon's prime minister and president said the attacks violated UN resolutions and were a setback to international peace efforts. The Israeli strikes have also solidified opposition by Hezbollah and its allies to a Lebanese government plan to disarm the militant group. Hezbollah says it won't give up its weapons while Israel is attacking and occupying Lebanese territory. Jana Raff, NPR News, Beirut.
U.S. stocks continue to trade higher this morning. The Dow Jones Industrial Average has gained 57 points. It's at 46,200. The S&P has gained 13 points at 6645, and the Nasdaq is up now 87 points. This is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Alexandra Hart. New this morning, a strike by Hilton America's Houston hotel workers, which was slated to end on Saturday, is now scheduled to continue until October 12th. This is the second time the strike has been extended. The union says Hilton hasn't budged enough from its offer of a $17.50 hourly wage. That's a $1 raise from the current rate. Francesca Caraballo is the Texas chapter president of the Workers Union. She says they are still committed to winning a living wage.
They make the profits possible, and the workers are not reaping the benefits of the hospitality boom that's happening, the tourism boom that's happening in Houston. So that's why the workers are out here. They're trying to get their fair share.
Houston First says the labor agreement should balance industry standards and workforce retention. Public meetings reviewed by Houston Public Media show revenue for both corporations is projected to reach record levels this year. Hilton, which operates the hotel, did not respond to a request for comment. Lawmakers and civil rights advocates continue to demand the return of an 11-year-old U.S. citizen with brain cancer who was deported earlier this year with her family while traveling to Houston for treatment. According to the Texas Civil Rights Project, the family was allegedly deported to Mexico after they passed through a border checkpoint in February. The child's parents had been living in Texas without legal status for over a decade. Their daughter is a U.S. citizen. Speaking Thursday in Washington, D.C., Houston area Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia blamed President Trump and his administration's immigration policies.
This is not the way we treat children in this country. This is not the way we treat families in this country. And all that we're doing is hurting people every single day.
Garcia says the family had been seeking treatment in Houston for the child for over 2 years. Texas added just under 18,000 non-farm jobs to its labor force last month. The Texas Workforce Commission says that brings the total number of jobs the state added over the course of this year to almost 195,000. The leisure and hospitality industry accounted for more than half of the jobs added. Texas' unemployment rate is currently 4.1%. I'm Alexandra Hart, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Fisher Investments. Fisher is committed to helping clients stay on track to reach their financial goals and enjoy a comfortable retirement. FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Live from the University of Houston, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manouse, Celeste Diaz Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Live from the Untitled Art
Exhibit
Exhibit
at the GRB.
Fair.
Hello, Houston.
Things look awfully different around us today.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah, if you want to see what we're doing, where we're at, you can go to the YouTube channel, check out the Houston Public Media channel on YouTube, and we're there. You can see us live from Untitled Art, which we're very excited to have. We're going to spend a lot of time on today's show talking about this and how important it is and exciting it is to have it in our own community. And we're thrilled to be able to share it with you.
Yeah.
But that's not all. We're going to do a lot of our regular things. We're also Christina Wells, the singer. She was on America's Got Talent. She's going to be sitting down for an interview with us. So we got a lot going on today's show. And it's just fun to be here.
Yeah. It is. It's beautiful to be able to come in. This morning it was absolutely beautiful. I felt like when I woke up it was sunny.
Yep.
There was like beautiful blue sky. And then we walked into the George R. Brown, which you think, a convention center. And then we walked into the fair and all of the art and the exhibit and the pieces and pottery and things. It was amazing.
They're amazing. It's a great space for this. This is their first time out to do this, and we're going to learn all about why they're doing it here, what it took to get here, and what they're expecting. And, of course, it's open to the public. So hopefully people will be interested and come down and see some of this wonderful art.
Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing to keep in mind, too, talking about being busy and active and all of that, I'm surprised you're up with us today, Frank.
Oh, because I was at Benson Boone last night.
You went out with the kids.
Yeah, I was. Let me tell you, I was like, little girl, if you'll stop screaming, I'll stop blocking your view. It was that I didn't realize it was. I was like, this is a school night. You kids should not be here. But you know what? He was delightful. He was a great entertainer, engaging, talented. Those flips all the time. It was a really fun concert. And I was telling Ernie, I don't know if reincarnation is true, but he came back as Freddie Mercury, absolutely. And then he covered Freddie Mercury. I know. I mean, he reminded me a lot because he's a showman.
Yeah.
Like Freddie, strutting down the walk, and he loves a little flashy outfit or two, and he just reminded me in a lot of ways. Of course, he has a mustache and kind of long hair too. So anyway, but that was great. And then of course it's Friday. Right.
It's Friday.
So here we are, and the weather is nice. And guess what tomorrow is?
Well, it's Saturday.
It is Saturday, and it is the third Saturday of September, which makes it Texas Navy Admiral Day.
And Frank brings
here
that
it
up.
is.
Why?
And to all my federal admirals out there, Judge Ed Emmett's an admiral. There are a lot of admirals out there.
You are an admiral.
I am an admiral in the Texas Navy.
Yeah.
Very different. But it's in memory of the Texas Navy, which existed for 10 years before it was absorbed by the United States Navy. But it defended our coasts for 10 years. And there were men that died and fought, and it's in honor of their memory.
Well, thank you, Admiral.
And we just got a comment from YouTube that says traffic light outfit colors today. Red.
Oh, we are.
We are.
See?
That's clever.
I think we look good.
Thank you, Alex Garza, for commenting.
Of course, I'm the go light.
Yeah.
Your caution. And your
stop.
This is perfect.
That is exactly.
If you don't know what we're talking about, go to our YouTube channel and you'll see. And this was not coordinated. It's just happened.
I'm wearing green. Celeste is wearing yellow. Ernie's wearing red. So green, yellow, red. That's what they mean.
Last night I had the chance to go and see Kimberly Akimbo, and we had the star of the show on earlier in the week. It was not at all what I was expecting. It was I was expecting, I don't know, some kind of like, okay, that's a new musical.
Kind of silly.
Yeah, it did win the Tony Award, but it was excellent. Not what I was expecting. Thoughtful, touching, funny, adult. So it's not for kids, even though she is 16 years old, but ages much more quick, 4 times the rate of people. That's the character in the storyline. But no, it's not necessarily a family show, but really entertaining.
Wow.
Very good.
Well, while you were at a concert and you were
at the theater,
I was at soccer practice. So I'm glad. I was at 9-year-old soccer practice outside, and it was, again, absolutely beautiful. So hopefully everybody gets out this evening. What's the weather going to look like, Frank?
There's a chance of rain on Sunday, but it looks like a pretty nice weekend until then. It gets a little dicey with showers Sunday and even Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. But it looks pretty nice today if you have Friday plans and Saturday. And if you're looking for somewhere to go, this is a good place to be. It's air conditioned.
Yes.
It's air conditioned.
At the GRB.
Do you remember when I've mentioned this before, I had a movie theater when I was growing up. And what we used to put on the marquee was air conditioned.
Sure.
So it's like, doesn't matter what movie's showing, it's air conditioned in here. So come on in.
Yeah, thanks to Mr. Carrier. He's the one that brought it all to us.
Yeah. But we have a lot to discuss, and we're going to jump right into the headlines. A group of state and national media organizations, including the Texas Newsroom, the Texas Tribune, and ProPublica, are arguing in court that records in Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton's divorce case should be made available to the public. The organization filed their plea to intervene with the Collin County District Court handling the Paxton's case on Tuesday. The group is requesting that the court reverse a July decision to seal the case records, arguing that both the Attorney General and his wife, State Senator Angela Paxton, are elected officials subject to public scrutiny. The documents should be available for review and inspection with limited exceptions. This is what the media organizations are saying. The organizations noted that family law cases across the country, including divorce proceedings, are presumed public, and that the couple's political positions in Texas and Paxton's decision in April to run for U.S. Senate adds to the public interest. What do you think? Should the file be made public, or should the Paxtons be allowed to keep this a private matter? Now is the time to join us on Hello Houston. You can give us a call or send us a text at 713-440-8870.
The gossip hound in me is always like, give me the tea. I'm curious. I want to watch it. I want my little National Enquirer moment. But all honesty, legality-wise, does it matter if it's not the public policy or what they do as elected officials or their positions on issues? Should we have access automatically to their private records?
Well, Paxton served more than a decade in the Texas House of Representatives and Texas Senate before his election as state attorney general in 2014. So he has been an elected official in Texas for a very long time. Angela Paxton was first elected to the state Senate in 2018. So I think their position is, we are elected officials. We've been doing this for a very long time. We've been in the public eye, and we want our information to be private.
I'm not sure, because what if the information they're keeping private is something like, and I'm making this up, but if on anybody, what if it's, he cheated on our income taxes for 10 years. I found out about it. I paid it back, but I can't live with somebody who does that. Well, that's something we should know if he's running for Senate. So and now if he was having an affair with another woman, I don't care about that. That's between them. But if it's something that would go to his role as a politician, then I think we should know it. But I'm torn.
I think there's twofold to this, right? The first thing that I think is nobody is above the law. If everybody else in the state of Texas is going through some type of divorce or going through some type of situation, then they're filing it within the court system and it's made public, they should be providing that information to the public as well. I also think that if in the filings of their divorce there was an affair, that is something as somebody who votes I would want to know, because I want our elected officials to be honest.
Really?
I think it has to do.
Well, I have some news for you.
I don't know about that. Crazy notion.
Very hard to find pure people running for
you're
elections.
Right. And not that I'm saying that that would sway my decision. I'm just saying
you
that
just want to know who
I
you're voting
want to know who I'm voting for, and I want to know all about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think though the shift has been is that people have made politics now a moral argument about the stature of the individual running, not their policies, about their person.
Affected them winning.
Oh, well, it has affected the way they are perceived in the public arena, definitely, whether it has impacted or not. But I think that can of worms has been opened now, that because politicians made it about the moral core of the person, not necessarily just their policies and positions on things, they opened this playing field. Well, now they gotta run with the ball.
What I'm curious about is she's been quoted, his wife, as saying that their marriage was not founded in Bible's teachings, and this is the same man who's insisting on the Ten Commandments being put on the wall.
Right. When
so
you bring in moral issues.
Yeah. If we're going to bring moral issues as a politician, then perhaps we should have access to all of your moral issues. But on the face of it, I think a divorce is between whoever's divorcing.
I agree, but if everybody else has to be put through that, and you can go online and find their court proceedings, I think that should include elected officials. They can't just decide that. But again, 713-440-8870. Everybody is welcome to the conversation here on Hello Houston.
When a divorce is filed, many of the basic documents in the state of Texas are part of the public record. That can include petitions for divorce, motions, the final decree, and orders. Public access means people can request to see the records through the relevant district clerk or county clerk's office in many counties. Certain case summaries and basic filings are searchable online. So if all of this is already out for anyone else...
Well, why didn't the judge say that? Why didn't the judge say, well, sorry, Ken, but you know what? Everybody else's is open to the public. Yours, I can't seal yours just because you are asking.
Well, because that judge might be thinking, what if one day I'm going to
do they play golf together or something?
Because what may be private or restricted is sensitive information can be sealed or protected by court order. For instance, details about children, such as addresses, schools, medical issues, financial statements, or allegations of abuse may be redacted or shielded from public view.
Well, that indicates that one of those might be going on.
I also think that just as a journalist, I am nosy and I want to know.
Well, I mean,
I just want to get into it.
A good dose of cynicism and curiosity is what makes a good journalist.
There you go.
So that's fine. You should be curious. Absolutely.
We want to know about this. But again, 713-440-8870. You are welcome to join the conversation. You can call us or text us at 713-440-8870.
If you've been driving around in the Montrose of late, I think I'm the only one who still refers to it as the Montrose.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So if you've been driving around Montrose of late, you may have noticed that the iconic rainbow crosswalks, the first such landmarks in Texas recognizing LGBTQ plus residents, are gone for now, and could be for the foreseeable future. Officials with Metro, which is repaving the Houston intersection where these crosswalks were, say they're waiting for a review of recent federal guidelines before committing to bringing them back. What do you think? Should they be removed? Should they be brought back? Does this make sense? 713-440-8870. I want to start this off just by saying there is construction and that area is being torn up and worked around. So the removal may not have initially happened had that not been going on, but now the question is, do we bring them back.
Well, Abby Kamen, who's Houston City Council, says she's going to get out there with her own paint rollers if somebody
and do it
doesn't bring them
herself.
back.
That's right. But, we do have a caller on the line about our original topic, our first topic of today's hour, about Ken Paxton and his wife in their divorce case. Should it be made available to the public? Right now it is sealed private records. And Roger is on the line, Roger from the Galleria, on this topic. Roger, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
Thank you for having me. I'm someone who has been divorced in the state of Texas. And when I was going through the process, I was never given the option of whether or not I would like to have these records sealed and hidden and all of these types of various things. That was an option that it was just you go, you file, and next thing you know, you recognize that your information is out on a public website. That's just the standard of how it's done. And I don't understand why politicians suddenly think that they're above the rest of us, because the last time I checked in the United States, politicians are citizens and should therefore be under the confines of the laws that govern the state and the nation.
Mm-hmm. And to dig a little deeper into that, when you are in the public arena, the belief is you made the choice to be in the public arena, and therefore you're held to a different standard when it comes to exposure of things. That's why it's so hard with libel and all of that if you are a public person. To be in politics, you have put your name out there. You don't want this stuff to be public? Don't get into the public arena. That's one of the arguments in it. Yes, Roger, really appreciate your response.
Thank you for calling, Roger. Let's go to Sully from Sharpstown on this same topic. Sully, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
Well, thank you. Regarding if there was infidelity, I'm kind of, if you cannot keep that promise to your spouse, how can I possibly expect you to keep a promise? Do something like uphold the Constitution.
Sully, I got bad news for you. I think we'd lose an awful lot of politicians that way. Yeah.
But I don't disagree with you, Sully.
Right. Good point. And in fact, there's a text that we got saying, given that currently there's a major question about whether or not our top elected official in the U.S. might have been involved with a sexual predator, I think issues of morality do matter to voters.
Interesting point. And yes, there is all of that going on with the Epstein files at the highest echelon of our government brings into question the moral makeup of the people that we put into office. But I go back to, remember, we put them in office. We vote. We don't have to vote for people we don't want in office or don't agree or align with our beliefs or our policy issues. Always keep that in mind. And so I go back to make sure you're registered to vote and make sure you vote when the chance comes along. Denise from YouTube said, the attempt to impeach Paxton brought his infidelity to light because of the funds spent on his mistress. That is why his divorce proceedings need to be transparent.
And again, 713-440-8870. We have a call. Barbara from Tomball. Welcome to Hello Houston, Barbara. What is your comment or question?
I wanted to comment on the rainbow crosswalks and the statement that Metro is waiting on the federal government to tell them whether they can do it or not. And I just don't think it's any of the federal government's business how we paint our crosswalks. That should be a local matter, not even really a state matter, and certainly not a federal matter.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for those comments. I do want to say in July, the U.S. Department of Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said taxpayers expect their dollars to fund safe streets, not rainbow crosswalks. He posted on X, political banners have no place on public roads. It's reminding recipients of U.S. roadway funding that there is a limit to features advocating safety and nothing else. It's that simple.
Yeah, I'm not sure that we know who paid for that, though. I mean, some crosswalks are not necessarily paid for by taxes. They're privately funded.
Maybe Anna Maria knows. She's on the line from Pearland. Anna Maria, what's on your mind?
Hi. Yes, so many topics and so many opinions, but on this one, I'm so glad I got through. It is ridiculous. Okay, it's all BS. They will never come back as long as the Republicans are in power. Why? Why do I think that? Because they did it in Miami Beach. And my sister is here visiting from Miami. She said Miami Beach, they've erased all of that. No more rainbow on the sidewalks. None of that. It's a systematic way of erasing the culture. I don't happen to be gay, but I totally think that we should have that if we want it. And they are ridiculous. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you for that.
Hey, they got rid of the one in Key West, Florida.
Yeah.
That used to be the gayest place in America.
The most prominent example.
It was.
The most prominent example was the Rainbow Crosswalk outside the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, commemorating the 2016 shooting. Florida Department of Transportation painted over it following federal state orders.
Yeah, mostly state. Sorry, mostly the governor of Florida.
Well,
that's where that's coming from.
Coming up on Hello Houston, we are broadcasting live from the Untitled Art Fair at the George R. Brown Convention Center. And we're going to talk to the guys behind the event, as well as one of the owners of the Seven Sister Galleries right here in Houston. This is News 88.7. Stay with us.
With federal support gone, Houston Public Media needs a stronger foundation for the future. The Houston Public Media Resiliency Fund is our response to ensure this service remains strong, stable, and community-powered. Your gift today helps us stay on the air tomorrow and the day after that. Give now to the Resiliency Fund at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
I'm Maria Hinojosa, this week on Latino USA. Bad Bunny's evolution from trapero with swag to a joyous salsero. We take you to the Bad Bunny residency in Puerto Rico. That's this week on Latino USA.
Listen Sunday night at 7 o'clock.
This week in This American Life. Immigration judges usually don't talk to reporters, but a bunch agreed to go on the record with us to describe what it has been like to do their jobs under the current Trump administration. Pressure to decide cases in the government's favor, firings.
It was an assault. It was like an old medieval castle that was under siege. They were slowly cutting off our food supply. Now they're cutting off our air supply.
That's this week.
Listen tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock.
Support comes from Stages, presenting the Lehman Trilogy. The play follows three brothers from their arrival in America to the rise and fall of a financial company that shaped the rules of modern finance. Runs September 19th through October 12th. More at stageshouston.com.
Support comes from John Moore, helping with plumbing, electrical, and air conditioning repairs, including out-of-warranty units since 1965. Details at 730-2525 or at johnmooreservices.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. Join the conversation. Call now, 713-440-8870, or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's Ernie Manouse, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Good morning. You're listening to Hello Houston, and today we're coming to you live from the George R. Brown Convention Center, where something big is happening in the world of contemporary art. This weekend marks the highly anticipated debut of Untitled Art Houston, a boutique invitational art fair that's making its first ever appearance right here in our city. Known for its flagship edition on the sands of Miami Beach, Untitled Art is expanding to Texas, bringing with it a bold, inclusive vision to Houston. With a sharp focus on curated integrity, emerging talent, and accessibility, the fair is more than just a marketplace. It's a cultural movement that uplifts artists, nonprofits, and unprecedented voices from around the globe. Joining us to talk about what makes this fair different and why Houston was the next natural step are Jeff Lawson, the founder of Untitled Art, Michael Slenske, the director of Untitled Art Houston, and we're also joined by Erin Dorn of Seven Sisters Gallery right here in Houston. Jeff, Michael, and Erin, welcome to Hello Houston, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you have a question and you want to join the conversation, you can give us a call at 713-440-8870. 8870. Now, Jeff, we've been chatting and talking, and I wanted to just start with, when you started to think of the concept of Untitled Art Fair, how did you want this to be different?
It's the curatorial component of it was the key part. So when we started the fair in Miami Beach in 2012, it was about bringing a different voice to the fair, focusing on curatorial integrity and working with independent curators to select galleries and artists from around the world.
Now, somebody that might not be into art and know the word curatorial, what does that mean?
That's a good question. I'm going to put that one over to Michael, who has curated this fair, and I think he can actually lend his voice to this quite well.
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of framing and contextualizing works, artists, having a bit of a I think gatekeeper is a little of a dirty word these days, but the idea of just putting the best foot forward and making sure all of the work, all of the galleries are, relating together and kind of putting forth a bigger vision.
And curators also, they're out there on the ground. They're working with artists. They're doing studio visits. They're working with the galleries. So they have a very different perspective of the market.
Quick question about curatorial work
Sure.
in this area. Is you're picking galleries to present as opposed to picking necessarily artists to represent. As a curator, what does that free up for you or help you get a better understanding of the community by taking that approach?
We pick both. We start with the galleries, and then we have a curatorial review process
Within the galleries
with what
work?
they're bringing.
Okay.
So we all work together lockstep every step of the way, because we want to have, with this fair specifically, we have a limited number of artists per booth. And, it's to have a deeper engagement with the work. It's a lot of fairs, you'll see tons of work in each booth, and you may get lost, and what we want to do is slow people down. And that's not in only just what's happening within the booths, but it's with this, the layout of the fair, which we worked with Michael Shue's Office of Architecture out of Austin.
I'll jump in there. One of our original, when we started the fair in 2012, was the curatorial component, but also to work with an architectural firm to have a unique layout that is focused specifically on the art, less so than, say, a trade show.
Okay,
So-
one last question on this one, then we can move on to other topics. I'm curious, is there an overlying story you tell then when you're looking at it as the curator? What are you trying to say with what we see on the walls here?
Well, I mean, look, each booth is and each gallery is going to bring a different body of work. But I mean, what we're focused on, I mean, again, this is a boutique version of the fair. There's 88 galleries from 22 countries and 20 Texas galleries. So
It's a very international
It's
fair.
very international coming in, but we want to radiate out this, local, regional, national, international going out. So you feel Texas, but you feel Texas in this way that it's this huge international city. And we want that diversity to come across in what you're seeing.
I have a quick question about the title, Untitled.
That goes back to the curatorial concept. So the idea of naming it Untitled meant that we could focus on the artists, focus on the curatorial component, focus on the programming. Untitled work has been named Untitled since the beginning of time. And so the idea was to brand the fair in such a way that it focused on what was inside the fair, which is the artists and the galleries.
Speaking of galleries, Erin Dorn is with us. Erin, what are you bringing to all of this? And is this your first time to get involved?
It's our first time for Untitled, of course, because
It's
the
the
first
first time.
Untitled. But we just came from Armory in New York, and we're starting to do more fairs. We're a relatively new gallery in Houston, so to have this amount of support has been really groundbreaking, and I feel like the Untitled umbrella has such a generous trajectory because they're able to be nimble and reflect the times, and that's certainly something in contemporary art that we're always trying to do.
Now, Erin, we keep talking about, galleries, but from your perspective, if an artist is listening and they're saying, I want to get into a gallery before I can even get to a fair.
Oh, sure.
What does that process look like?
I think it's individual for each dealer. I think some dealers have very strict kind of perspectives of what they want to convey to the public. And some dealers like myself, I'm very interested in storytelling. And so I have to lead with relationships with artists and the material first. And then that's a process of really moving through the space with them and seeing how we can continue their goals and ours.
Well, it's interesting because different galleries have different personalities,
Mhm.
and you can see it even when they have like gallery nights where they're all open over in wherever all
Colquitt.
throughout the city, out Colquitt. You see those different personalities. and such.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious what your experience was working with Michael as the curator of this event, and you curate your own gallery,
Sure.
and coming together where you guys met, where you had discussion, how you ended up with what you're presenting here.
Absolutely. Well, we met at NADA in Miami, which was our first fair. And Michael was so kind and just very complimentary about our booth. And then it led to a conversation about Houston and how he had been so excited about the diversity in Houston and how it had been underrepresented in the past on the art fair scene. And so that was a very like back and forth process of how do we reflect Houston and what artists do you want to put forth. And so it was a very generous kind of back and forth.
Hey, Jeff, I have a quick question. So you started in 2012.
Yes.
So give me an idea of, did you go from 5 galleries to now 5,000? What's the expansion been like? And what do you anticipate it to be like for the Houston show?
Sure. So the first fair in Miami was a very boutique fair. It was about 50 galleries. And the fair in Miami now has grown to about 180 galleries.
Wow.
I think it's 40-something countries in that fair. And so it's a much larger fair. This fair, again, intentionally was to be an invitation-only fair, a boutique fair. When I say invitation for the galleries, obviously open to the public. Everybody please come and check everything out. But so our intention here, we have been in Miami now for 14 years. We want to be here for decades to come as well. The fair will continue to grow based on the support that we get from the community here in Houston and Texas at large. And as Michael's points out, I mean, even for this fair, we have museum groups and curators that have flown in from all over the world to come to Houston. Our intent is to continue to work with Houston first, and build an international fair here so that this becomes a destination for arts on the annual calendar in Houston.
Like an Art Basel even?
Absolutely.
Is everything for sale?
Everything is for sale, yes. Yeah.
So I have a purely logistics type question. We're talking about art, and I mean some of the most beautiful pieces are out there. They're coming from all over. How did y'all get all that art here? I mean, seriously, did
art
it fly
shippers.
here? Did it
Art shippers.
I'm like, this has to be just.
Yeah.
It takes all kinds.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes like if you have local galleries, artists are making things here. There are also artists that are based in Houston working with galleries that are not here, so they're making the work here. Otherwise, the work gets shipped in from all over the country, all over the world.
Now, Jeff, we were also chatting a little bit earlier about how art can feel sometimes intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
How did you start breaching that? I'm going to get into art.
Sure. So, I mean, I'm a perfect example. My wife and I are collectors. I bought my first work of art. It was a Justine Curlin photograph in 1999. I was just out of college. I made a very paltry sum, and the work was $1,500, and it took me, I think, a year and a half to pay it off in installments. Right. And so, anybody can collect. And at this fair, there are works that are under $1,000, to over $1 million. But there is a broad range, and if it's something that interests you and you want to be a part of it, and you can speak to this as a gallerist even better, but there is, there shouldn't be that intimidation factor. There's always an option to get involved and collect and live with art and have it as a part of your life and lifestyle.
It feels like this fair, I feel like, is very much a place where somebody who might have never walked into a gallery can walk in and feel welcomed because of the skill.
Yeah, there's definitely, and I don't say this too literally, but a speed dating aspect to coming to the art fair. There's so many options. You'll find something that you might be drawn to, and then it's a conversation with the dealer or maybe the artist that you learn more about it. And maybe it's not for you, but maybe it's something you want to dive into more.
Erin, let me ask you this then. When we talk about how you choose what's right for you, and you have this experience of seeing what's here, and of course, it always should be the art that speaks to you is the art you should be interested in. I am much more the person, I like it, I want it. Yeah. And I have friends who are like, but you got to figure out who the artist is. What's the value? Will it appreciate? What can you, how do you navigate that, especially for your first time out?
Of course. I think there's room for both. I think your instinct is always something to listen to. And the market conversation should be something fluid. You want to make sure you're buying something that an artist that's going to continue to make work or has progressed throughout their career, know which museums they're in, which other galleries are represented in, and make sure you're buying into something that you really care about.
And I guess that having a gallery
That's the important role of the
Yeah.
gallery, right?
Right,
The
that you have
gallery
that
is-
answer.
The gallery does the work for you as the visitor, the collector, because they've put together their group of artists that they believe in and are representing and putting their efforts behind.
So, Michael, Celeste touched on the logistics of all of this. This must have been quite a project for you.
Yeah, I'm a writer and curator in LA, and I've worked on big shows, even within art fairs. But the scale of this and the scope of it are massive, and Jeff will attest to this. When we walked in, when there was nothing on the walls, he's like, "Wait till Michael walks in; he's going to lose it." And
Welcome to Texas.
and I
Everything's bigger.
yeah, and I sort of did, but then when you relax, and going back to the idea of the Michael Schuh's design here, it's meant to be this process of exploration within the fair, and we're talking about what it's meant to feel like. It's this idea of the town square, and you kind of circle in and circle out, and you get lost a little, and you get found a little, and I think that's new in this world, because a lot of art fairs are gridded, and you're sort of just going row to row, and
Right.
if you do that, you might as well be at the elevator contractor show downstairs.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, but you had to even build the walls to put the art on.
Correct.
I mean,
Yes. We have a whole team of people that are here that have to do. We have to build the walls. We have to put the truss up, the lights, run all the electrical. I mean, it's
and then make it
it's a
look
large
pretty,
scale.
which it does, by
Yes.
the way.
Yeah.
Michael, what would you say do you have a favorite piece? Actually, I would love to
Oh,
know
yeah.
from
Pick
each
your
one
favorite
of you
child.
where, if somebody's like, what,
I love them all.
Yeah.
So does Erin.
No, but really,
Especially
is there
for her
something
gallery.
that speaks to you when you're walking around that you think it's really special? I mean, that you think people should pop in and look at?
Well, I think to go at the point of special, that what we do have here is, all the galleries are great, and all the work they're bringing, we've already, helped them select it. But there's 8 special projects within the fair, and these are these larger, works, whether it's a Claire Rojas bronze sculpture with Jessica Silverman Gallery, or Rainer Levanovo, who did this big piece right outside of this podcast lounge, and he works with Sicardi Gallery. They're these big projects. Even El Franco Lee and Isabelle Brourman, who I think might be on with you later, they're doing this booth kind of in tandem and relating to each other. So that's kind of a thing that we're doing. It's almost more communal, and it's for everyone. That's, you don't have to, like you're talking about this access. Anyone can access those works. There's no, that's just out there for everyone. If the dealer component, you may need to work up to that. And then a little bit further in the fair, we have 20 cultural partners with all the museums in town. They have booths, and there's a thing called the Houston Artist Market, curated by F Magazine's Adam Marty, and that's like cash and carry. There's little paintings that are $300-400, and surfboards and T-shirts, and
Quick question for all of you with the experience you've had and the amount of time you've been working in this. Trends you've noticed that have either fallen by the wayside or back or strong, or things people will notice when they wander through here, and how do you weigh that and balance that you don't fall into the trap of just what's hot right now?
I'll jump in on this one first. I think really one of the things was back to what you had talked about earlier about sort of the market importance. I think, it's still critically important. This is an industry, and artists need to survive and galleries need to survive. But we had gotten so focused on that for a while that there is a push, a fall back now to more, really evaluating the art, appreciating the art, seeing what it is that you want, what it is that's speaking to you. And I think that there's a real opportunity here now for the community to support that component.
So what are the nuts and bolts? Today, tomorrow, Sunday, GRB,
Yes.
Hall A.
Yes, Hall A. You can buy tickets online for $35. You can buy them on site for $37.
And what are the hours?
The hours are
12 to 8 today, and 12 to 6 Saturday and Sunday. And it's Hall A3.
A3.
Hall A3, yes.
But they have escalators.
They do indeed, and elevators.
Jeff Lawson is the founder of Untitled Art. Michael Slenske is the director, and Erin Dorn is with Seven Sisters Gallery. Erin, Jeff, Michael, thank you all for joining us today on Hello Houston. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Coming up, another installment of Ernie's Interviews. Stay with us as Hello Houston continues.
Imagine two friends getting together.
So what's happening in Congress?
Well, this is something that is going to be tough to defend in an election year. And that's assuming it even passes, which it might not.
Imagine you could listen in.
And then what about the Senate? The bills are just rocketing out of the chamber.
Have they gone too far? The House might say, well, wait a minute.
Well, you can. Party Politics with Brandon Rottinghouse and Geronimo Cortina. Fridays at 7:30 p.m. on News 88.7, at 8 on TV8, and on your favorite podcast platforms.
On the next Living...
Federal funding for public media has been cut. In response, we're creating Houston Public Media's Resiliency Fund. Donations made toward the fund will directly counter the loss of the $2.2 million in federal funds that were cut annually and strengthen our station's foundation to provide our services into the future. Contributing to this fund is easy and quick and makes all the difference to our station. Help build the Resiliency Fund now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
Holocaust Museum Houston, featuring Growing Up Jewish, a contemporary art exhibit celebrating North America's vibrant Jewish community. Details at hmh.org. Support for Houston Public Media comes from Hildebrand MBA at UT Austin's Macomb School of Business, offering the weekend MBA at Houston. Campus visit September 20th. Details at texasmbaevents.com. Make it here.
And now back to Hello Houston. To share your thoughts on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's Ernie Manouse, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Today we've been focusing a lot on visual art, but the art of performing, of singing and acting is yet another art form where many have sought success, but few ever truly achieve it. Houston native Christina Wells, through her voice and her ability to share a story through music, thought her gift would simply be kept to herself. But in her 40s, success could not be kept at bay any longer. She found a belief in herself and put her talent out there, and the rest is history. From America's Got Talent to starring in the 25th anniversary tour of the Tony-winning revival of Chicago as Mama Morton, she has been making her mark. I recently had an opportunity to sit down with Christina for an episode of my series InnerVIEWS, and in this excerpt from our chat, Christina shares part of her journey of success, the importance of the work one needs to do, no matter how much talent you may have. I first got to know you before America's Got Talent. That was just happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who are you now different from the person before that?
Ooh, that is okay. You're getting into it.
We're going right in.
Well, I think before, I'm a nurse and I'm a mama. And so during the 2017, 2018 timeframe, all the way to 2020, my kids have graduated, moved out. My oldest son's gotten married. I'm a grandma now. And also, I no longer work in the bedside of the hospital. I don't work in a hospital at all anymore. I work from home. And so my life is really completely different than it was before. Yeah. And also, I think the other thing is that before I was desperate for the opportunity to share my gift. And now I have realized that I don't have to feel desperate. Like I can feel comfortable and know that the right things are coming to me, and I can trust that that will happen at the right time. And I think that's what America's Got Talent taught me big time.
But was it the success that show gave you, or was it just a maturing in yourself?
Oh, 100% maturing in myself. Yeah, like learning that I will live. I lived all these years, right? I'll be 50 this year. Yes, my first time singing was at 42. Right? That was the first time I really got to put my voice out there, my talent. I tried when I was 19, 20, but yeah, it's only been in my 40s. And so yeah, definitely she's a different lady than she was when she was younger. I joke and say the reason that success waited so long for me to get to enjoy it was because I probably would have been immature.
Yeah.
Like even in my 30s.
Yeah.
Probably would have been a little immature. Ego can get you quickly in this industry. Things go well for a while. You start to get a little lackadaisical or think it's going to be fine. But life has taught me to stay ready so you don't got to get ready. And so, yeah, anytime I see that happening, like I'll go to an event and someone will be like, oh, you're so nice or you're so willing to work. And I'm like, I know people probably have come in who haven't been. We both know people like that who think they could just show up, right? But I have been in the background for so long that I've so much respect for the people that make it happen, even more than the people on the screen with you. So yeah, I think age has definitely helped to make me more of a mature woman who could handle this more gracefully.
Before sitting down to do this, and I will take you back, talk life and all that, but I was looking at the performances on America's Got Talent.
Yes.
And the thing that struck me this time that I don't think I noticed before or thought about before was how that must have felt for you to walk out on that stage and before you start realizing what could be, what was about to happen, what was going through your mind at that moment?
Well, we've all sat in our living room and watched some show and been like, if I was, like maybe Jeopardy, whatever, right? We're like, if I was on there. So I definitely had that in the back of my head. I had always said, if Simon could hear me sing. So now Simon was going to hear me sing. But I think more than anything, I was in a place, especially whenever I went on America's Got Talent the very first time, of not so much just thinking like, oh, my dreams are going to come true, but this is my chance at least to get to try.
Yeah.
I never felt like I got to really try and put myself out there. And I always think of that Christina as her own person, separate from me. So that Christina, I'm grateful to her. That Christina in the pink dress, she took a huge chance. She was afraid. I always joke, but it's true. I peed my pants a little, so afraid. I was terrified. And it was really one of those moments of feel the fear and do it anyway. And she took a huge risk. And she tried something that was so scary to her. And I'm so grateful that she did because she changed my life. Yeah. Like everyone says that Simon Cowell, the fact that he stood up and I got the 4-chair standing ovation, like that's a big deal. Most people get 3-chair. I got the 4-chair, right. But the truth is, and I say this all the time, before Simon could say yes to me, I had to say yes to me. And that Christina said yes to herself. She didn't say, oh, you're too fat. She didn't say, you're too old. She didn't say, it's too late. She said, I'm going to try.
Yeah.
And she went and did that. And that's how I have the life I have now because of her. So I always try to say that I'm doing the best I can because past Christina got me where I'm at. Present Christina needs to work her butt off to impress future Christina.
Who is future Christina? Any idea?
I do, actually. I very much know who future Christina is right now. She... I know that she's moving into a place where singing is one of the mediums, not the only medium. I very much now am in a place where I feel like I have something to share more than just singing. I have a story to tell. I think my life has a lot of lessons in it. You know how you go through things and you're like, why is this happening to me? I feel like I know now why. I think that I have what I call cheat codes on life. I figured out how to stay happy through hardship. I figured out how to stay confident through society's pressures to say that I myself sitting right now don't qualify as what the idea of beauty is or what the idea of intellect is or what the idea of success is. There were many years I walked into patients' rooms and they thought I was the maid. And so being a brown plus size woman, being gay, like all these things about me, I feel like I have something to share with the world. I don't know if I've told you this out loud, but I've written a book. And yes, and it's a book called Confidence, and it's me sharing portions of my life and explaining how I once lost my confidence and how I've learned to regain it, and that confidence isn't a place that you arrive to. It's a journey every day, and it's a practice that I have to constantly put in place, and that's how we can all feel confident. Yeah. And so, the Christina Wells of the future, she's an author. She's going to have a TED Talk. She's going to have her book, one of many. That's the Christina of the future. She will still sing, though, whenever she does all those things.
I asked you a little bit ago about the difference between the Christina before America's Got Talent and the Christina today. If I asked your children about the difference in you, what would they say to me?
Well, one of the things when I talk to my kids about my progression is my sons will tell me, whenever we first started, they were like, we don't know what took everyone so long. That's my favorite thing they ever said. Whenever America's Got Talent interviewed them, they were like, are you so proud of your mom? Are you so surprised? And they were like, no, we're wondering what took all of you so long. And that was the greatest compliment. But I was talking to my kids just the other day, and they're like, the thing that they see is that I've continued the hard work. They're like, Mom, you keep working. You've improved your singing. You've improved your acting. You've improved all these things that they saw the seeds of.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's what they say to me. They're like, that I continue to work hard constantly. And you and I have talked. I'm relentless. I'm an all day kind of a lady. I've always have 1,000 projects and so many things I want to accomplish. Let me make all the clothes and sing all the songs and produce the show. Right.
And do your nails.
And do my nails, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. I do my nails and then also translate it into other languages. I mean, just anything I can do. But yeah. so that's the thing they say to me. They're like, you just keep on doing the work. And that's what makes me proud, because when I started this, and I said this on America's Got Talent, is that I want to show my boys that your dreams can come true. I think we believe dreams belong to youth. You can only have dreams when you're 18. Opportunity belongs to the young. It makes no sense. You don't know who you are at that age.
Yeah.
You don't know who you are. How are you supposed to know everything that's supposed to happen? Or if your opportunity comes, we see this in famous people who are young, the struggle they go through. We could list names right now. Some of them don't survive the struggle. You know, either they have fallen off of it or they passed away, unfortunately. And so, yeah, I think it's crazy to think that dreams and opportunity and all of that can only happen when you're young. I believe it can happen anytime in life. Yeah, and that's the message I know now my children see. I know they see it, and that's what I want for them in their lives too.
The other point of that makes me think of is when we all know, you, sure, really amazingly talented people who don't put the work in.
Yes, exactly right.
And will never get it because when opportunity comes and knocks, they didn't do the work to be ready for it.
Yes.
And I felt like you were ready for it, even if maybe you hadn't come to it till later to want to do it. You didn't look away. You didn't take it for granted. You knew that to keep it, you had to work at it. You always want to improve. You always want to be better than yesterday. And I think a lot of people who are fortunate enough to be gifted with the talent you have feel like, well, I've got it. Look at it.
Yeah, exactly. The doors should just open.
Right.
Or that also the discovered sentence, you've been discovered, or that, everything just happens for you. I 100% agree with you. My son played football, and I said to him every day, because he's athletic, but there were, of course, other guys who could throw farther, run faster, whatever. And I told him all the time, hard work beats talent every time talent forgets to do the hard work.
Oh, good one.
Every time.
Yeah.
Every time. Because I could tell you in anything in life, maybe if you walk in the door, you don't know, like you go to an interview or you go to an audition, and I've auditioned for so many things now. I don't think I'm the best singer that always sings when I walk in a room. I know I'm not. I know that I'm not. I am a talented woman, but I hear many voices that are amazing. But you know what I will do? I'm going to work hard. I'm going to show up prepared every day. I'm going to be easy to work with. I'm going to be ready. You want my headshot? Boom. Biography? Got you. Christina, we need B-roll. We need pictures. I'm going to have it all ready to go. And so I think oftentimes being easy to work with, being willing to do the hard work, that's, if not more, but equally as important as talent.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have talent. I'll meet someone and I'm like, my goodness, listen to you sing. My Lord, why doesn't everyone know about you? But then I work with them and I'm like, oh, this is why.
Yeah.
This is why.
Yeah.
This is why. Because you're right. A lot of people think talent excuses them from being on time or being prepared or practicing, rehearsing. You'd be shocked. I'm shocked. Because I'm literally like, I can't believe anybody wants to hear Christina Wells from Pasadena sing. Like, I say that all the time. You want me to do that? Oh, yes. Okay. What do I got to do? I'm working on something every day to be ready for that next opportunity.
Ernie Manouse with singer Christina Wells. To hear Ernie's full conversation with Christina, go to Houston Public Media YouTube channel and look for InnerVIEWS with Ernie Manouse with Christina Wells. Coming up on Hello Houston, we will dive into the top stories of the day from the Untitled Art Fair right here at the George R. Brown Center. Stay with us for the second hour of Hello Houston.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way with Ernie Manouse, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
I'm Jesse Thorne. You want some real, insightful conversations about where art comes from? Well, Bullseye has you covered, as long as you don't mind a little bit of ridiculousness.
Y'all was like really judging me though.
They sniffed it out. They sniffed out that I was weird.
I was like, I don't know where I'm going to sit, just like in the movies.
Listen, learn, laugh. Bullseye from Maximum Fun and NPR.
Bullseye, Thursdays at 9 p.m. on News 88.7.
Support comes from DeCamera, presenting Other Worlds, Season Overture. Works by Ravel, Rachmaninoff, and Schubert, featuring pianist Enon Barnatan and violinist Tessa Lark. October 3rd at the Wortham Center. Tickets at decamera.com.
Looks like a very slight chance of any showers or thunderstorms today. If we see any, they'll be after 1 o'clock today. This is your NPR station, KUHF, Houston, News 88.7, a service of the University of Houston. It's 12 o'clock.
Welcome to Hello Houston. Coming up this hour, we're live from the Untitled Art Fair in the George R. Brown Convention Center as we explore Houston's thriving art market by featuring seasoned collectors and our large community of working artists. I'm Frank Billingsley.
And I'm Ernie Manouse. We'll also have a look at some local artists here at Untitled Art Fair who specialize in art that challenges our political systems and ideology as we spotlight L. Franco Lee II and Isabelle Brourman.
And I'm Celestia Sherman. Plus, as always, we'll jump into the top stories of the day. And we want to hear from you. Give us a call or send us a text at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org and clicking the big orange banner.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. The U.S. Senate has been deciding on a short-term spending bill to keep federal agencies funded through November, averting a government shutdown at the end of this month. Democratic leaders, including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, oppose it. House Speaker Mike Johnson addressed that after his chamber passed the measure.
They're not being reasonable at all. A short-term CR is not a partisan exercise. We could have loaded this up with partisan provisions, but we're not doing that.
All but one Democrat in the House voted against the measure. We are working to confirm votes in the Senate. The Trump administration is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to block a judge's order allowing transgender and non-binary individuals to choose the identification marker on their passports rather than what matches their sex assigned at birth. The ACLU had sued, arguing one woman had a passport returned with a male designation and other transgender people were too scared to submit their passports out of fear their documents would be held by the State Department. The Justice Department says the government should not recognize sex designations it considers inaccurate on official documents. The State Department has released a new strategy for how the U.S. will engage in global health. We have more on this from NPR's Gabriela Emanuel.
For years, the U.S. paid billions in foreign aid dollars to non-governmental organizations to set up and maintain aid programs. With the new strategy, officials plan to largely skip over NGOs and work directly with individual governments, integrating programs into their national health systems. Elisha Dunn-Giorgio heads the Global Health Council. She says the strategy lacks details.
How does it get implemented? Who are the partners? Do you have the structure to do this? Or do you all of a sudden have to kind of rebuild what you just tore down?
The Trump administration has already shuttered billions of dollars worth of global health programming. Gabriela Emanuel, NPR News.
One of the nation's largest teachers' unions is trying to pressure the Trump administration to cancel the debts of some federal student loan borrowers. NPR's Corey Turner reports.
The American Federation of Teachers is seeking an injunction to force the Department of Education to cancel the debts of eligible borrowers. The agency has been delaying cancellation for those who have been in an income-driven repayment plan for the required 20 or 25 years, as well as for borrowers who have applied for cancellation under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Buyback Program. The AFT calls these delays unlawful, while the Education Department tells NPR they are largely the result of problems that began during the Biden administration. The clock is ticking for borrowers. In January, the government will again consider loan cancellation taxable income. Corey Turner, NPR News.
From Washington, this is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Alexandra Hart. The president of Texas A&M has resigned amid fallout from a lesson on gender identity. Numerous conservative lawmakers called for the removal of retired General Mark Welsh after a video was posted on social media. He's the second A&M president to last 2 years on the job. He took over from former President Kathy Banks, who was fired over the botched hiring of a black journalism professor amid allegations she was a DEI hire. For Welsh, the controversy was over a lesson that included gender identity that was recorded by a student. He originally came to the defense of the professor, but fired her a day later. Sugar Land Mayor Carol McCutcheon is asking the city manager to reduce the annual budget by about $1 million following backlash from residents against a property tax increase. News 88.7's Natalie Weber tells us more about the city's budget process.
Sugar Land Mayor Carol McCutcheon is asking the city manager to revise this year's budget and find ways to keep its maintenance and operation spending the same as last year. The move comes as several residents have criticized the city's proposed tax rate increase. This is McCutcheon speaking during a city council meeting Tuesday.
Just like a homeowner or a small business owner would do in similar circumstances, we need to be mindful and tighten our belts where we can.
The city's property tax rate will still increase by about half a penny per $100 of property valuation next year. The taxes will be used to fund bond projects approved by voters last year. Sugar Land City Council will likely review the revised budget next month. From the Fort Bend County Bureau, I'm Natalie Weber, News 88.7.
The body of missing University of Houston student Jade McKissick has been found in Brays Bayou near Tillman J. Fertitta College of Medicine off Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. The UH student newspaper reports McKissick was last seen at L.A. Burgers and Daiquiris on Scott Street near the Bayou on September 11th. She was reported missing 3 days later. An autopsy found no signs of trauma or foul play. The cause of death is still under investigation. I'm Alexandra Hart, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Capital One, offering their premium travel card, Venture X. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. Details at CapitalOne.com. And listeners like you who donate to this NPR station.
From Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Hello Houston with Ernie Manouse, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
We're back. Hello Houston, live.
Hello, Houston.
From the GRB.
Yes, Untitled. We're here with Untitled Art. They are making their debut in Houston, and
it's a beautiful
art
show. I mean, they've taken over an exhibit hall, A3. They put up the walls, the lights, the art. There's everything from sculptures to classic paintings to abstracts, watercolor. I took a tour around, and it's just magnificent. Someone was asking how many pieces of art are on display. I couldn't tell you, but I would say hundreds.
Yes, absolutely.
I will say also, in this hour of the show, we're going to take a look at this from a different perspective. We're going to be talking about social activism in art. We're going to be talking with artists who combine art and fashion and culture into their work. We're also going to be looking at the educational aspect of this event and how it's going to be giving back to our community with prizes and scholarships, all of that to still come in this hour.
Called Untitled Art, which sort of opens the space to make it whatever you want.
Right. And it feels like I felt like this morning everything was in such a rush, and we live inside the city. And then I walked into the George R. Brown, and I immediately took a pause, and I stopped, and it was just like, oh, right. Here, this is the essence of art, where it allows you to take a pause and be present, and see and enjoy the color and walking through. And as we see people coming in, it's
just beautiful.
Amazing.
There are plenty of restrooms. There's some places for there's a little lounge for dining if you want a little lunch. They're open from 12 to 8 today. 12 to 6 Saturday and Sunday. You can get tickets online or here at the GRB. There's a bar. I saw a bar. There's Korean barbecue. There's hot
Halal.
Hello. Yeah, there's a lot to see, a lot to learn, a lot to experience. It's really a wonderful experience, and it's great that our city has yet another opportunity to celebrate our artists.
And I don't know about you guys, but I also feel like lately there's just been so much news, a lot of heavy things happening within our country and within our city and our state. And so it's nice to be able to take a pause and have a moment. And so, yeah, I've enjoyed being here.
Yeah, there's something going on at Discovery Green. And I say that not knowing. But we saw this big yellow rubber duck in the lake.
Huge rubber ducky.
I don't know what's going on. But, you know, people don't spend enough time downtown. And we have one of the best downtowns. They think it's just too busy and hard to get around. And it's not. It's walkable. We have the tunnel system. It's beautiful. We're showing right now on our YouTube channel a little video from this show, and it gives you an idea of that there's so much to see.
Yeah, and being an Ernie, a natural-born Ernie, I should know why a big rubber ducky is outside, and I have nothing to tell you about
I'll look it up. I can report back to you later.
I'll tell you, at the end of the last hour, we had the opportunity to hear my sit-down with Christina Wells. You can hear the full thing on our YouTube channel. Just look for InnerVIEWS. But we got a comment from there who said, I think we all at some point struggle with what we feel when we are, quote, not, no matter what category we fall under. Refreshing to hear someone speak to it. What you may not have heard in the interview with Christina, she does a lot of speaking engagements now and motivational speaking and talking to people about accepting who you are and embracing who you are. Don't spend your life trying to change who you are. Spend it celebrating what you have and who you are. It's really refreshing, and I love talking to her.
And it seems like more than ever now is a time where we really want to encourage that, because I think there's so many different things happening where people are feeling it in any way, shape, or form
There's
alone.
a lot of judgment in our culture, and it's nice to have an opportunity to celebrate who we are as opposed to tearing down who we are. And we see that all the way up and down the social stratus, I'll put it that way. And a lot of people need a place to feel present, and so I love that.
Yes, but we have a lot coming up this hour. Like Ernie said, we're going to be talking with Franco Lee, who's an artist, a bold painting chronicle, Houston's hip-hop history, and Isabelle Brourman, a multidisciplinary artist. And she's going to be blending fashion and memory and storytelling into all types of visual forms. But let's jump into the headlines. Texas A&M University President Mark A. Welsh III will step down today after more than a week of turmoil sparked by a viral video of a student confronting a professor over gender content in a children's literature course the Texas A&M University system announced on Thursday. The video, along with an audio recording of Welsh initially refusing to fire Professor Melissa McCool, first circulated online on September 8th after State Representative Brian Harrison of Midlothian shared it on the social media platform X. Welsh fired McCool a day later, but the move did not satisfy Harrison or Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who did not think Welsh handled the situation properly. In a statement on Thursday, Chancellor Glenn Hagar praised Welsh, but seemed to agree a change was needed. Welsh's departure comes amid a broader campaign by Republican leaders to tighten control of curriculum, hiring, and speech at the state's public universities. What do you think? Did the A&M president do the right thing by stepping down? Now is the time to join us on Hello Houston. You can give us a call or send us a text at 713-440-8870.
Well, I wonder what the terms of that really were. I don't think he stepped down. I think he was told, you step down or else. And
he was given an ultimatum?
Well, I mean, one would probably come with some sort of stipend, and the other would not, or severance, and the other would be, either but I don't know. I don't know the details. That's not been released, but it's, he was, he had to remove somebody, and then they removed him.
The bigger issue here for me is concern about where we are headed. We're seeing
there.
A lot.
What do you mean where we're headed?
Well, we're at this point now. We are headed to a much worse area, I fear.
Well, NPR is just reporting that Governor Abbott is asking for students to be punished for mocking Charlie Kirk's death, and 2 university students have been expelled. So we're firing professors, we're firing presidents of our universities, and we're expelling our kids who express themselves.
So
it's just
exchange of ideas, impressions and reactions, people's feelings and personal motivations all seem to be in the spotlight now. That it can't be I feel this way. We can't have, what we don't want to end up is being in a place where we cannot have open and honest discussions about issues, policies, and beliefs that affect us as a people in today's day and age. And I feel like there is restriction coming in from different directions, feeling like telling us, if you don't say what is agreed upon speech, and as I say this, some of you may say, hey, didn't we learn about this in history, these happening in other places at other times? So we've got to stand up. We have to be heard saying, we have a right to discuss issues. Charlie Kirk, that's what he did. Whether you agree with him or how he did it
very
or not,
well. I mean,
his whole thing was the public square is where you have these conversations. You bring ideas forward. Everyone has a right to argue these points of view. But you have to have the conversation first.
Right.
You can't stop the
Everyone's
conversations.
Everyone's going to be afraid to say anything.
It's heading that way.
And speaking of conversation, now is the time to join the conversation. What do you think? Did the A&M president do the right thing by stepping down? 713-440-8870. You can call us or text us. You can also email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And again, everybody is welcome to the conversation. This is tough, right? Because it feels so multi-layered. And I think that's what's happening today is everything is multi-layered. And to unpack it all, it's difficult because people on the right have felt like their voices haven't been heard. People on the left have felt like now their voices are not being heard. And people in the middle are kind of like, well, where do we go from here?
Right.
Denise Orlick, our wine goddess that's on
Yes.
YouTube every day, her comment, all of what is going on in Texas public universities is unfortunate and will cause talented students and professors to choose other schools outside of Texas.
And again, 713-440-8870. We have a call from Alvin from 3rd Ward. Alvin, welcome to the Untitled Art Fair.
I love Alvin.
How you guys doing?
Good, buddy. What's up?
Oh, yes. Hey, man, how does it feel? You know what I mean? Like fascism light. You know, it's like a Snuggie. So what's basically happening is that, you know, we have this first phase of censorship, etc. And I know that it feels good to think that what they're doing is sticking it to the other side. But what they're actually doing is that in the marketplace of ideas, just like tariffs, you are creating restrictions upon intellect. And when you do that, being that that's something that we're known for around, or at least was known for around the world, what happens is that means that our intellectual product, the politics, the ideas that we get to choose and develop and or even object to get restricted. So then we are a lesser we have less of an economy when it comes to ideas, which means that we become a lesser country. And so that's basically what's happening. And so for anybody who's agreeing with this, just understand that there are civilizations, countries outside of the United States who are ascending as we are devolving.
Alvin, thank you for that thought. If you have a thought you want to join the conversation, 713-440-8870. This all leads me also over to the idea of what is responsible speech. And we have an idea, we have a concept of it. I wonder, does that shift and change? We see like different mores in culture change and evolve over time. Is the concept of what is responsible speech changing and shifting?
I think absolutely. I think what we're experiencing as a country is we are in that shift. We are in a place where what cultural norms used to be once thought of as a faux pas or uncourteous, or we don't do that. We have shifted to a place where there are things are acceptable now. And I say we've shifted, but perhaps we've always been there, but now it's more open.
Well, you know, we were talking the View. With
yes,
Goldman
we were
did say
discussing
a
about
word about Kimmel being fired, or at least taken off
and the View is on ABC.
Well, and the word is the View's in the crosshairs
Right.
also.
There was a post that came out indicating that the View is being looked at now.
We do have a call. Betty from Lake Jackson is on the line. Betty, welcome to Hello Houston. What's your question or comment?
Betty, can you speak up for us?
Oh, yes, sir. Can you hear me?
We can now. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So I just have a comment. Do Americans only want President Donald Trump to be the only one allowed to indulge in free speech? and hate language with his calling his political opponents, quote, vermin, quote, scum, quote, lunatics. That is clearly hate language from the president himself against his political opponents.
Betty, thank you very much for that. I don't know if we lost the call there.
Betty
We
has a
appreciate
point.
your calling in.
We've heard some of the ugliest words coming out of the very top.
And again, 713-440-8870. Let's head to Roland from West Houston. Roland, welcome to Hello Houston. What is your comment or question?
Good morning, people. I'll tell you, it's when you wake up on the wrong side of the bed and it just gets worse and worse. Sometimes you have great programs. You know, when you go to a funeral, sometimes it's not the best time or the best place to discuss people's negatives in life or their positives. And yes, you want to accentuate the positive, but I don't think that woman out there in California, Maxie Water, I don't think the woman that just was on just now, she had a short memory. Does she remember when Maxie Water jumped up in the face and said, jump up in the face of every conservative you see, whether they're in a restaurant, in a street, in the grocery store, jump up in their face. If you know they're conservative, please jump up in their face and get in their face if they're conservative. And that's not inciting? What? You tell me what that's not inciting. And then we're a bunch of what was it? Clinton says to the girl that was Secretary of State, up in Pennsylvania, a bunch of God-fearing, rifle-toting on and on. Look, to be honest, we could go on, and you know it, and I know it. We could go on with the debate, although the kids don't call it a debate anymore. It's, like they did years ago. It's a kind of an objective back and forth where we can come to not answers but solutions. But these people, it's not the place. Let the man rest. Let him go to God for the life he had, and then we can start. It's the same thing y'all do on gun control, okay?
Roland, I have a question for you.
Doesn't pull the trigger.
Roland, I have a question for you. What do you think needs to happen? What type of solution needs to happen?
What type of solution? For one thing,
do we need for our country to come together?
Schools. We need mental health desperately need mental health in the high schools. Absolutely, without question. And we need people that will, and instead of this Susie and Johnny stuff going into the locker rooms, we need to get back to sensibilities there, okay? We know the difference between males and females. Sure, there's women that can beat the heck out of men, but they're few and far between.
Roland, thank you. Thank you so much for joining Hello Houston. Again, 713-440-8870. Something we do here on Hello Houston is we invite everyone to join the conversation.
My one reaction to Roland to think about is an eye for an eye and the whole world will be blind. We have to, like you said, we have to find that place, Celeste, where we start to come together. We can all have grievances and concerns, and what's been happening in our current culture has given us the opportunity to see the deep divides even more clearly. Let's start talking about how do we solve it.
I've been pushing the golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated.
And even as we see just by our callers that listen to Hello Houston, we have very varied opinions about how and where our country is going. And so again, 713-440-8870. On a lighter note, we are live from the Untitled Art Fair right here at the George R. Brown.
And we were asking, what in the heck is going on across the street at Discovery Green with the big rubber duck?
Big rubber duck.
Well, we found out.
Yes.
I know. It's the Houston Pumpkin Festival, which starts today and runs through November 2nd, transforming the park into a whimsical autumn wonderland. The massive yellow duck is one of the many playful Instagrammable attractions designed to delight visitors of all ages.
It's all about the gram, y'all. It's all about the gram.
Nothing says pumpkin festival more than a giant yellow rubber ducky. I'm not quite sure why.
They have a big corn pit and kayaks and Cinderella's carriage.
There's always something fun and cool to do in our city.
What we didn't get to, and here's something fun and cool all of you can do today, is International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Arg.
Oh,
matey.
Matey. Yeah,
Bring on the dad jokes. Bring on the dad jokes.
You can all practice that. Also, Saturday Night Live announced what's coming back for the 51st season, who their hosts will be.
Who's coming back? They fired half their cast.
We don't know fired. 5 have
departed,
left, and they have new people coming in. But Bad Bunny is going to be the host at the premiere on October 4th.
I love me some Bad Bunny.
And Doja Cat's going to be the musical guest. To give you a couple more, because they've announced a few, Amy Poehler will be on the second episode.
She is so funny.
Role Model as the musical guest. And the third episode on October 18th, we'll have Sabrina Carpenter, who will be both the host and the musical guest. So you got that to look forward to. I'm curious to see if Saturday Night Live is going to have a different way of presenting their topics and concerns that they have gone after.
They make fun of all politicians, and nothing has ever stopped them. So it will be interesting to see how they approach all of this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So I think probably a lot of folks are going to be turning into Saturday Night Live, see how that goes.
But coming up on Hello Houston, we're coming to you live from the Untitled Art Houston. Coming up, we'll talk with local artist Franco Lee II and Isabelle Brourman. This is News 88.7. Stay with us.
Hello, I'm Josh Adams, General Manager of Houston Public Media. This station just lost $2.2 million in federal support annually. To keep our station strong, we've launched the Resiliency Fund, powered by community members just like you. Your support will help bridge the funding gap and ensure these programs remain free and accessible to everyone. If public media and this station matter to you, now is the time to act. Support the Resiliency Fund today at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
.org/donate.
My son turned 10 just the other day.
On the next Music Archive Showcase, hour number 2, on the music and philanthropy of the late singer-songwriter Harry Chapin.
I do about 220 concerts a year, about 100 of which are benefits, about 60 of whom are for World Hunger Year.
Harry made it gangster to do something about things that need something done for it.
Hour 2 on the music and activism of the late Harry Chapin on the next Music Archive Showcase. Saturday evening at 7 on News 88.7.
I'm Christopher Kimball from Milk Street Radio. This week we explore the cooking of Colombia with Mariana Velasquez, from homemade arepas to the influence of Middle Eastern ingredients such as sesame and labneh. Plus we explore the secret world of creating food emojis. Adam Gopnik ponders the elements of dinner, and we present a recipe for potato salad with Sichuan peppercorns. Coming up this week on Milk Street Radio from PRX.
You can hear that Sunday at 1 o'clock.
Support comes from John Moore, helping with plumbing, electrical, and air conditioning repairs, including out-of-warranty units since 1965. Details at 730-2525 or at johnmooreservices.com. Support comes from GenPro, a Houston-based home generator service providing power to homes during unexpected outages, helping with connectivity and productivity. More information is available at genpro.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now back to Ernie Manouse, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
We're coming to you live from the Untitled Art Fair, Houston, where the city's energy is pulsing through the work of some incredible artists. And joining us now are two voices at the intersection of urban culture and contemporary art. Franco Lee II, whose bold paintings chronicle Houston's hip-hop history and social fabric, and Isabelle Brourman, a multidisciplinary artist blending fashion, memory, and storytelling into striking visual forms. Both artists bring deeply personal and deeply Houston perspectives to the fair. Welcome, both of you, to Hello Houston.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having me.
What I like about the pairing of the two of you together is that you're both capturing current day life and reflecting in very different ways. And I think that encapsulates what's so wonderful about art, is that there's a multitude of ways we can show expressions, but all can be helping our audience learn and understand the times we live in or the issues we struggle with in the same moment, but from different points of view.
Absolutely, I agree.
Talk to me a little bit about y'all's individual art. Like, Franco,
Sure.
why don't you start and tell me about some of your pieces that you're most proud of?
I'm definitely most proud of my DJ Screw collection, and it's been probably my milestone and guiding light through the art career. You know, it's definitely got the attention and buzz before social media, and it's, you know, allowed me to not have to have a social media presence as much. You know, just kind of riding off of my experience with DJ Screw and
I was gonna
the
say,
local
I feel like
music
that is
scene.
so Houston, and I think
Yes.
so many people could say DJ Screw is their guiding light in so
Yes.
many ways.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
agreeing. Thank you.
What about you?
I'm really excited to be able to share the asylum hearing drawings that I am currently creating in New York at 26 Federal Plaza. So I'm currently documenting the courtrooms and the subsequent detainments by ICE agents at everyday check-ins in New York's immigration courts.
What I like is how you have taken what we always think of as courtroom drawings as just a function of being able to capture a moment for just that instant and turned it into art and reflective of the period we are in and the subjects you choose to focus on and present.
Thank you. I'm having a really good time, finding my way through the country this way. I think there are a lot of spaces that people assume, are completely procedural, but there are so many elements of the human experience that need to be included, and especially right now, there's so much that we're grappling with in the country, and all of that is sort of pouring out into the courts. So I'm happy to be there to be able to express that in my own way.
So I'm curious when you say that, and they're really remarkable drawings.
Thank you.
So when you're drawing someone who is on trial,
Mhm.
are you trying to evoke what they are feeling like, or are you putting on them what you are feeling like, or a little of both?
I mean, I try to go in there with an open mind and channel the space, the witness, if somebody is on the stand, but really I'm telling the story of the room and then the story outside of the room. So I clear out of projecting anything onto the work and just try to take bits and pieces from everything that I'm observing and feeling by empathizing with the different characters in the courtroom and sort of funneling the tensions that exist in the country and then inside the courtroom. Oftentimes these high profile trials, there are conversations happening all the time, and the discrepancy between viewing a trial or understanding a trial outside of the room and then being in the room, that's something that creates a conflict in me that I like to explore and navigate, as well as drawing the witness. Like I'll draw the witness's hands, for instance. I get time to pay attention to gestures that other people in the courtroom that are telling that story don't have the luxury to pay attention to because they're studying the minutia of the court. So I think there's crucial information in the way that somebody is testifying and how they have their hands on their legs. So I'll start to track that.
Not to belabor this point about courtroom drawings, because there's so much more to the work you do, but I'm curious your thoughts and feelings and how you explain to people the significance of it being a drawing, a piece of art, as opposed to just a photograph of the person on the witness stand. What changes in that?
I think what changes is that a drawing can really contain a story, and I can put different marks that carry, the emotional. I think that a gesture can hold so many different emotional experiences. Like if I bang down a piece of graphite, it means something to me, but it might mean something different to somebody else. Whereas like a photograph, it's flatter. But I think both are really important, and I think that there's information that's contained in a photograph that's not contained in a drawing. It's
truly
and
beautiful
vice
work.
versa.
Well, and what you're doing is frameable.
Right.
I mean, it really is wonderful art.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And,
it's great.
Franco, as we discuss, tensions within our country and the situations that we have, it's interesting to me because your father was a Harris County commissioner and a political voice right here in Houston. As a young artist and as you emerge, what are some of the experiences that you're pulling from for your own art?
Absolutely, just the evolution of Houston as a whole, politically, culturally, demographically, just everything I've been able to kind of witness through the early 80s all the way till now. And, I'm just cultivating that and regurgitating, my experiences in that realm through the work. And, just...
I'm curious if having had the exposure you had because of your dad and your dad's involvement with all of so many of these issues that now show up in your work, obviously it alters how you see the situation. But are you ever curious if you didn't have that background and walked in more cold to these situations, would the images come across differently? Would we see a different story? Does this background help move something to a different level?
I'd probably be a little more reluctant to depict the things and the nature of the things that I depict. I just kind of noticed, like, from the just general feedback, it's pretty heavy content, but I feel like just my standpoint and the experience of, like, living in the household I lived in, the area, being born and raised in Fifth Ward, and my dad being a second generation Fifth Ward resident, I'm able to just get down and gritty with my content and have no limits to the storytelling figuratively in the work.
When I see your work, I kind of think folk art.
Yes.
And that would be a proper characterization.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you're going after, I guess, scenes, but telling an entire story with one scene.
Yeah, folk art with a mix of hieroglyphics, I would say. I definitely want these stories to be, left behind and revisited long after I'm gone, and it will kind of depict and, relive what was going on in those decades and eras. And even, I'm also doing historical paintings as well, so it's just revisiting and educating, the youth on things of the past and things that are before their time.
Yeah, so you're both really socially conscious in your work.
And we received a message on YouTube from Christopher Williams who says, Franco comes from a family of legendary activists. I believe his work is an amazing tribute and continuation of their legacy and focus on Houston. Bravo. Yeah, so you have quite the few fans.
That's
out
my
there.
close brother and lifelong play cousin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
As we were talking about with Isabelle about how just a photograph doesn't capture the same thing as putting the graphite to the paper, the energy, the deciding. For you, what I see in your work is a fluidity and movement of a still image. And I think that is fascinating, how you make it alive and full of motion, but it's not. So how do you approach an image to give it that kind of movement?
Just a long line of influence from comics, illustrations, and just graphic content, movies, other art, action figures, just give me that notion to want to, like, pose every figure in some type of storytelling movement that will, like, guide the viewer's eye across the composition.
I'm curious for both of you. I see the rainbow flags that have been painted on crosswalks, not just political, but artistic. Because my definition of art is when somebody does something I would have never thought of, that to me that's art. And I would never have thought, let's paint the rainbow flag in a crosswalk to make some kind of a statement. How do you see those, and what's your opinion of them being taken away?
I honestly didn't know about them being taken away, but I just did a mural at Meow Wolf with vinyl records from their angle of, the spines being shown, and it's like every color in the rainbow, and it kind of represents, the community and staff at Meow Wolf. So I've always loved multicolor and embraced the rainbow. I wasn't aware that they were removing, those street art pieces
across the country.
Oh, really?
Yes, they're basing it on the idea that streets are not there to make political comment, and so they're removing them.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's why I wonder what your opinion was, because you're kind of political in my opinion.
I mean, any art is welcome to me. I don't think anything expressively.
We had Jeff Lawson, the founder, and Michael Slenske, the director of Untitled Art, speaking to us earlier in the first hour of Hello Houston. And, they were talking about how curated this event is. So I want you both to tell us, as local artists, what does it mean to have your work at such a high level of an exhibit?
I'm coming from New York, so I guess I'm local to New York, but I'm really excited to be welcomed to Houston and to be in such an incredible space with so many people who have spent so much time, really planning their shows. And I think like the level of execution that's happened with everybody's individual practices being on display, it's not to be overlooked, and so it's very cool. I mean, I'm happy to bring these stories into a place where people are looking at art and ready to consider the work, and that's the beauty of hanging the work and showing it to an audience, is that it gets the time that I haven't really had, making it, to really consider it and to think about how I had somebody yesterday stand in front of the work and start to cry, and that was like really moving for me. I never had that happen before, and she said that she also had never had that happen, but that because she was seeing the work and taking the time to look at the drawings, she saw this issue in a completely different way and felt the impact a little bit. So that's what this kind of a place can do.
Yeah. What about you?
I'd have to say it's a career highlight to still be recognized for my art. Having small hiatuses from, being kind of in the local scene and gallery sector, and still, be on Untitled Art radar is a blessing and a privilege.
When we were putting the show together, one of the things that I thought of when we had this segment put together was painting the American psyche in a lot of ways. You're looking at what's happening at social activism in art, explaining what we are going through as a people at this time. As an artist, how challenging, for both of you to answer this question, how challenging is it to capture this moment and to do it in a way that speaks to the audience looking at it, or to educate them to see something new and fresh and different?
I mean, I guess I don't really think about it so much. Like, I just go and I do it, but it just takes a lot of energy, going from place to place and like feeling all of it. And I think everybody kind of feels as though, there's a lot that we're not able. I kind of feel like there's a lot that I would be doing if things were a little calmer. That would be, like reading a book or relaxing. Maybe my mind would turn off a little sooner. So the challenge is really like feeling pressure to pay attention and knowing where the balance is. But yeah, other than that, I try to keep it candid and just go with what's happening and try my best to be ready when the time comes.
Franco?
I'd have to say, with having my boots on the ground and, still living in the inner city, urban community, I'm surrounded by, ever-changing components of society, gentrification, the property tax change and things of that nature, and still see the poverty that's, being kind of pushed out of the area slowly but surely. But I mean, it comes out in the work one way or the other. I'm, always painting about this struggle.
When you're creating your art, both of you, are you thinking about the message in the beginning, or are you thinking about capturing the moments you're trying to capture, and that the message and the movement comes after?
I'm drawn to something because it speaks to me, but I'm not thinking about the meaning of the work in the beginning. I'm just making it, and I think that the process is really ends up being the message a lot of the time. But yeah.
How old were y'all when y'all decided y'all wanted to pursue art full time?
Full time, I'd have to say 24.
Okay.
I'm
but
46 now.
You started drawing when you were younger.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely been drawing since before I could write. 3 years old, and
Really?
yeah, definitely.
You have to be passionate.
Honestly, I think I have the same answer. It was like, early 20s, and I was always drawing, but I just never really thought about it as a profession. But then again, never really thought about a profession for a second. I didn't really know what I was doing.
I'm right there with you.
Put it
I haven't
together.
thought about it yet either.
You and Ernie Manouse.
That's funny. So what do you see? You go to a lot of shows, I'm sure. You've seen a lot of galleries. So far impressed with Untitled Art Houston?
Absolutely impressed. I think everything is refined, and people put their best effort forward into installations. And I mean, this is the elite level to me of the arts beyond Houston and Texas to me.
People owe it to themselves if they're here to come and seek out your work. It's really fascinating. Or look online. You can see you both have active Instagrams, and it's really impressive and really does speak to the moment we're in very different ways, but also helping us to better understand the culture we're struggling to get through right now. Thank you.
Franco Lee is a local Houston artist, showcasing hip-hop history and social fabric, and Isabelle Brourman, a multidisciplinary artist blending fashion, memory, and storytelling. They are both right here at the Untitled Art Fair in Houston. Isabelle and Elle, thank you for joining us on Hello Houston.
Thank you so much.
And coming up, we'll discuss art education. Stay with us as Hello Houston continues. With federal funding cuts, Houston Public Media has lost $2.2 million annually. In response, we have launched the Resiliency Fund, an urgent initiative to protect the programs and services you rely on. That includes PBS Kids, that provides free educational programming to children and families across Greater Houston. Your support of the Resiliency Fund helps keep this vital service accessible to our community. Give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
You can hear the show this Sunday night at 9 o'clock.
Be surprised by Bulgaria.
Every town, every village that we have has so many layers.
When we talk about roses, this is Bulgaria. See how people around the world look at the sun.
They knew the sun's power and were able to worship it.
And overcome your own challenges.
I believed that travel was my right and that it was something I would do someday.
On the next Travel with Rick Steves.
You can listen to it tomorrow morning. It's on at 6 a.m.
Support comes from Near Northwest Management District, located just off 290 and the 610 Loop, with a mixture of modern and mid-century homes and businesses. More information at nnmd.org, at the intersection of innovation.
Support comes from Miller Outdoor Theater, featuring modern jazz masters performing music from the Nancy Wilson Cannonball Adderley Capitol Catalog. This Saturday, open to the public. More at milleroutdoortheater.com.
Support comes from Central Market's Passport Germany, featuring a store-wide celebration of German food, such as Cambazola cheese, handmade sausages, soft pretzels, and more. September 10th through 23rd, centralmarket.com. Support for Houston Public Media comes from Holocaust Museum Houston, featuring Growing Up Jewish. Through contemporary art and storytelling, artist Jacqueline Kotvala explores her Jewish identity. Details at hmh.org.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's Ernie Manouse, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
All right, in case you're just now joining us, we're coming to you live from Untitled Art Houston, an international contemporary art fair here at the George R. Brown Convention Center, here all weekend long. In addition to featuring 88 galleries, the art fair is also offering educational programming, as well as several prizes to help support emerging artists exhibiting at the fair. Joining us now to tell us more about this is Clara Andrade, Executive Director of Untitled Art. Houston-based contemporary artist Vincent Valdez is on the phone with us, and also Michael Slenske, Director of Untitled Art Houston. Welcome to Hello Houston. We're glad you're here. Bringing in the education to it all. What's being done and what is the goal?
Hi, thank you for having me. So I think that for us at Untitled, we always are rethinking the role of art fairs in the current art ecosystem, right? And for our teams, it's very important to think, what is an art fair beyond being a very successful commercial platform for galleries, right? This is also a very important moment, a very important week, what we are trying also to do in Houston, to give visibility to very important and pressing matters to create a more sustainable art ecosystem. And also, we need to talk about like making art more accessible to the younger generations, to the public that might not be able to join us in Miami Beach, in Houston, or also thinking about other art world art fair destinations. So for us, programming has always been critical. For our Miami Beach and our San Francisco edition, we have organized over the years hundreds of panel discussions, also a very strong program of performances, as well as prizes. We'll be doing the same. I mean, I believe that Michael already mentioned, we want to think that Houston is a mini boutique version of what we are already doing in Miami. And we wanted to also bring that educational programming to the city. We will have 6 panel discussions, we have 6 special projects, and also we have 4 prizes.
Isabelle, when you're talking about rethinking art fairs, you mentioned sustainable art. What does that look like, and how are y'all doing that at the Untitled Art Fair?
So thinking about, for instance, our digital partnerships. It is what we are doing on site for the people and for the city, for the community, and for all the international travelers that are joining us here in Houston. But also we organized, created by Michael, a digital exhibition showcasing highlights from the fair.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of programming. For instance, today I'll be moderating a panel discussion in Spanish. This
Excellent.
city is home to a very big Latin American and Latino community. So also diversity and accessibility is key part of our programming.
And Michael, you know, as Isabelle mentioned, you all have this digital.
This is Clara.
Clara,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, Clara. As Clara mentioned, you all have this digital component.
Yeah.
How does that differ from, for example, tangible art?
Well, I mean, it's just a way to view the art if you're not here, and you know, there's always been a digital aspect to Untitled. You know, they were the first to do. They've always had, you know, digital tickets. There's a lot of this sort of in the process and having the foot forward, and I just think that's you know, part and parcel of the mission of the fair, just to kind of always be looking forward and ahead. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's another access point. It's another thing to point to give people more access. And then with the prizes, to go back on that, I mean, that's something that it goes into the community or other communities. So, you know, you don't actually have to be here, or and it brings the art outside of the fair. And our programming, there's 6 days of programming outside of the fair that we're doing.
Speaking of things outside of the fair, Vincent isn't here with us in the studio right now. But Vincent, let me ask you this. When you hear a term in today's world, such as arts education, I think oftentimes we think of it as very shallow and very tight, but actually can be much broader and more open. How do you interpret it?
Well, arts education for me can cover a span of relationships between fellow artists, a mentor apprentice working, you know, in formats such as murals, studio assistants, and then of course as an instructor. I think one of the roles that the artist plays in any kind of community or society is that we, in some fashion, one way or another, we become educators. educators as storytellers, educators as historians, researchers, etc. So an opportunity like this in terms of engaging a young community, a young network of artists at an art fair like Untitled, I think is extremely important, especially at a moment like we are in today.
If I'm not mistaken, too, you are working with the ACLU to work on a campaign to advance civil rights in Texas through art. Do I have that right?
Correct. So I'm working for the next 10 to 12 months specifically on this project for the ACLU of Texas, very much in a similar fashion to what I'm presenting with my project. It was a very good year at the Untitled Fair right now.
How does art play into, and I know it seems like a simple question, but it is a thoughtful question about what art plays in the role of advancing civil rights?
Well, I think one of the more obvious responses would be, any form of creative expression, especially for the role that it plays within a community. It keeps us engaged. It keeps us reminded about who we are, where we come from, how we connect with the world around us. And on a topic like civil rights, in a region like Texas, in 21st century America, I think that we as artists really have a responsibility and a real role to play in regards to helping to inform others about how connected we all are as a so-called society. And so one of the things that I'm trying to do with my project with the ACLU, titled The New Americans, almost in the spirit of the WPA movement in early America, is to use this digital information as a tool, as education, as information, and as a reminder that the struggles within America have always been present. Many of us have just forgotten how to remember, how to look, and how to figure out how to move forward. And so, I'm about the first several months into this project, and we'll present it at the end of next year.
And Clara, why was it important to have a panel in Spanish?
Well, Houston is home to a very important Latino and Latin American art community. Mm-hmm. And I think that for us also, as I said, it was always very important to create a link between Miami Beach and Houston. And I will be also talking about this today. There is a lot of literature about the Latin American market and about Latin American and Latino art, but pretty much all this literature is in English. So I think that also we are inviting 3 panelists to join me in conversation. The 3 of them are Spanish speaking. I'm Spanish myself. So we thought that was also important, not only to talk about diversity and accessibility, but to make it real by creating programming in the Spanish language.
Excellent. Michael, you're probably the one to ask about scholarships and prizes. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I mean, we have 4. We just awarded one just now to Teresa Serrano, who shows with Barbara Davis Gallery, and she's going to be part of the PAC residency, which put on the Mel Chin piece, the special project with the big, like the chandelier made out of chairs you see when you walk into the fair. But one thing that's really, I spent personal time working on this with Vincent, was the CAM Commission Prize. And, Vincent's work deals with narratives and the news cycle and images and narratives that are in that. And he uses the newspaper a lot. So when we thought about how to do this, we were like, let's have an artist pay forward with an artist. So the prize is funded by the edition he made that's in the shape of a newspaper. It's the form of a newspaper, and it's called It Was a Very Good Year, and it's 1986. And so, the Challenger is on that, and it deals with, this idea of space, but also politics and, like what is a print? What is an object? And what's interesting is Vincent's show was so successful at CAM and so many people. I mean, we had 300 people show up to a tour he did earlier in the year for us. And what we want to do is make it so it's Sorry, I'll speed up.
We have to wrap.
Yeah. It's an artist giving back to an artist. So next year, that person will be at the fair.
Well, good luck. Untitled Art Houston at the GRB all weekend.
Yeah.
Clara Andrade is the executive director of Untitled Art. Vincent Valdez is a Houston-based contemporary artist. And Michael Slenske is the director of the Untitled Art Fair. Thank you all both for, all three of you, for joining us today on Hello Houston. Untitled Art Houston will run through Sunday, September 21st. And that brings us to the end of the week for Hello Houston. Thank you so much for chiming in. Yeah, I know, Ernie. I know,
We'll be back
Frank.
Monday.
We'll be back Monday with more conversations. This is News 88.7. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menjivar, Jen Altide, Todd Holslander, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at houstonpublicmedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Your NPR station, KUHF, Houston, a service of the University of Houston.
This scientist changed how we think about hereditary cancer. I'm